Oh God, let me gird my loins.
On this episode of the John1911 Podcast, the Beretta 92X Performance, Russiagate won't die, Blue Finish is the worst finish, Pamela Anderson and Elizabeth Warren both have something in common.
Okay, good morning, everybody. This is Danny, Marky, and Freeze, and this is episode 162 of the John1911 Podcast. How's it going today, boys?
It's going.
Yeah, it's going good for me too.
Yeah, we are all freezing half to death. I guess Danny wins the iceberg. I don't know, igloo award. I guess it was -8 last night where he lives.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, such an award. Thanks, you can have it.
All right, so you know what? I never think I ever actually quite figured this out for the listener. So, like, if Chicago is in the center of a map, are you northwest, southeast? Where are you relative to Chicago?
I am southwest.
Southwest.
Towards the lake.
Okay.
Or southeast towards the lake. I'm okay.
Southeast.
I was going to say southwest towards the lake.
I was wondering.
Chicago.
I was like, well, okay. I don't know. The damn lakes are big. I don't know.
It's been a long morning. I've been fighting my wife all day. Due to my own fault.
Danny's wife had a small medical procedure earlier today, so we've all been hoping she's feeling better.
Thank you.
And so it's a little bit late for us. It's about 11:20 on Friday the 14th, Valentine's Day. And, I guess I'm trying to stay positive and I'm trying not to be cranked out of shape because I want to start off with gun stuff. But I woke up today to a story out of Columbus, Ohio. So I live in Ohio. And our governor, our great rhino governor, Mike DeWine, who comes from the same ilk as John Kasich, and I talk about John Kasich so much, I fully expect to get a restraining order put against me one day. Apparently, it's come out that Mike DeWine's daughter is running a secret anti-gun PAC out of her house in Xenia, Ohio. And I don't know if they're taking money from the Bloombergs or money from Soros. They're getting money from somewhere because they're not getting it from old Mikey boy. And it's just like, you see stories like this and, you wonder, like these assholes wonder why Donald Trump gets elected. Because, even the pro-gun guys could be like, well, Donald Trump has done more for, to hurt gun rights than, other people, which, you can make those arguments about the brace or the what was it? The brace? No, the I can't remember what they got.
Bump stock.
The bump stock. Yeah.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. And it's like, well, at least we don't have secret PACs being run out of their daughters' houses.
But let's talk about, Russian influence with Donald Trump. And, it's like they talk out of both sides of their mouth. They accuse Donald Trump of one thing and they do the exact same thing themselves.
Yeah, these fucking Republicans, look, I try to pride myself on I can be a pretty mouthy son of a bitch, but I pride myself on conducting myself with some decorum, especially in public. But literally, if I saw Mike DeWine in a restaurant, I would have to think twice about the temptation to go over there and stick my finger in his face and be like, "Fuck you! What a fucking cocksucker!"
Yeah. How do you really feel, Marky? Don't hold back.
Fuck these guys.
Yeah, but here's the thing. They're so narcissistic. They truly think that none of this shit will ever get out and they can get away with it.
Well, they have been getting away with it. But here's the thing. And the Mike DeWine thing and then the John Kasich thing actually dovetails quite well with where we are politically with the Democratic primary system. Because John Kasich's entire plan, and again, when I say Mike DeWine and John Kasich, they are literally like almost twins on how they operate. John Kasich, the entire 2016, primary season in the Republican Party was his entire business model was, I'm not going to stop running because I know that if I stay true to the cause, that the Republican Party will change the rules and just make me the nominee. There's no way they will let Donald Trump happen. And that's kind of what, you're looking at on the Democratic side. You got Joe Biden and now Amy Klobuchar, and it's, they're just like hoping against hope that this will somehow work out, and the system will just make sure that I get the nomination.
Oh, it's definitely going to be a brokered convention. You can bet the bank on that one.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Oh, chief political court. Danny's like ready to oh my God, we're so much political stuff. Before we started this podcast, we were like, well, do you need any more gun stuff before we talk? And I'm like, yes, because we're going to have so much politics, it's going to dominate the entire podcast. So we'll talk about this, and then we'll go into the guns. Danny, who gets a Democratic nomination ultimately?
Bloomberg.
I think so too.
Well, let me tell you what's going on real quick. I'll keep my political spiel to a minimum if I can.
30 minutes or less.
No. All right. Have you seen all the hoopla about the Roger Stone sentencing?
I mean, yeah, I've seen some of it.
Okay. Here's the real deal on that. They are asking for 9 to 10 years for a sentence. I've known murderers that basically haven't gotten things like that. But the real deal is, of the 4 attorneys that prosecuted Stone for the government, 3 of them were holdovers from the Mueller investigation. They are all Mueller's people. That's number one. There was a juror that was anti-Trump that voted also to convict Stone. That's just on the Stone thing. But what the real crux of this is Trump gave Attorney General Barr the authority to release all kinds of forms and declassify them. Well, within those forms is a whole lot of information that is not going to make a few Republicans and a lot of Democrats look good. But also in the declassification process, we have to factor in Stone. We have to factor in what's going to be released. But what it really all boils down to is Durham. Trump and Barr.
Let me add this just so people can follow along. Durham is the investigator set aside by the DOJ to look into this, to investigate the investigators. Correct?
That's exactly correct. And he has a carte blanche on that with open authority. There's going to be between what Durham comes up with of investigating the investigators, what comes up out of the Stone and the, well, let's say maybe biased attorneys that prosecuted them, and a few other things. There's going to be a boatload of stuff released and making a lot of people look like they have egg on their face, which is going to be true because it's going to be declassified. So underneath the whole thing of this, there's going to be a whole lot of people sweating on what Durham reports and what is declassified, made to the public before the election.
So I agree with everything you're saying. I mean, I agree that is the approach a lot of people are taking. However, I also agree with Trump, and I agree with people who vote for Trump and people who like the fact that Trump fights, because there's a couple of things here. I don't know. I don't think the average person who's listening to this, number one, really understands who Roger Stone is. Roger Stone is a lifelong GOP operative. And there's no two ways about it. Okay, for the reputation that people like Jeb Bush and maybe Mitt Romney before he went nuts, as far as like these totally upstanding people, Roger Stone is the original GOP dirty trickster. Roger Stone is a weird dude. And he has made a lot of enemies over the years. Roger Stone is like, if you people look into Roger Stone, especially if they're like the Mitt Romney types, and they, like, I'm just not trying to run people down, but like Roger Stone is probably a swinger. That would be generous, if not a closet homosexual, bisexual guy. He's had like all these like, they've run like fake stories about people that they knew were fake to fuck with campaigns. He goes back to like, I think the Nixon. He goes back to Nixon. It's incredible, Roger Stone's career, and they are dying to just to kick him in the balls.
But that's what happened on the sentencing.
And also there's some sign of this too. Like when they arrested Roger Stone, they brought in an armed SWAT team at like 5 o'clock in the morning with assault rifles, and like they hit his house like he was a doper, like it's on video, and it's because it's Roger Stone. And here's my problem with Durham and why I agree with Trump. If you're going to sit back on your ass and you're like, well, Durham's going to get them, they'll release everything, they're going to embarrass everybody, this is all going to come out in the wash, you'll see one day. And it's like, yeah, Eric Holder's going to jail too. And it's just like, Trump, look, everyone's screaming about these sentencing guidelines are all full of shit. This is not a scandal because, there's always been sentencing guidelines as far as like, what the prosecution can recommend, what the defense can recommend. There's federal guidelines that come that, if there's a point system, there's federal guidelines that the judge has to follow. As a woman who's the judge, I can't remember who she is right now, but she has carte blanche. She can literally use the guidelines. She can ignore the guidelines. And ultimately, all of this is kind of like hoopla bullshit. This idea that people, can have an opinion on what they think this dude should get, it doesn't fucking matter.
Well,
this is a fake scandal.
Well, I don't essentially agree with you on 100% of that because of one thing. Trump pulled that Jesse Liu's appointment for undersecretary for the DOJ because Durham uncovered where her loyalties really were.
Durham uncovered it, or it came out of her office because she was the one running this prosecution?
I heard it was Durham released it.
Maybe, I haven't heard
you're correct.
That.
I'll dig into that though.
She comes from the office that ran Stone's prosecution. She's their boss, I think. And so he's like, what the fuck? Trump is an inside knife fighter, and Trump is the kind of guy that when he runs a construction site, it is not beneath him to reach down and be like, no, this crew leader is a fucking dickhead and he's fucking fired. And so Trump is always looking to reset. And Trump is one of these dudes that fires quickly. And it's a very well-respected business principle. But let me go ahead and say this about Roger Stone. Then we'll kind of get off this a little bit. So the Roger Stone thing that we're discussing is literally the last vestige of life of the Mueller investigation. They went after Stone because of Russia. And by definition, Stone was charged. So what Stone had done is he talks to Trump, and he's this knife fighter guy, and he's this kind of he's a funny guy. He's an interesting guy, but he can piss people off. So supposedly if Trump and Stone and the campaign have this direct channel to the Russians and their Russian operatives, Roger Stone was convicted of reaching out to some shock jock, a radio DJ, who supposedly was in contact with WikiLeaks. And so Stone, I guess contacted the shock jock after all these investigations or his arrest happened. And basically is like, if you talk to these fucking people, I'm going to, what's going to happen to your dog. I don't know what he said to him, but he said something to this radio DJ that was kind of like, motherfucker, I'm watching you. You better not run your fucking mouth. But here's the problem. If Trump and Stone and the Trump campaign were talking to the Russians, why was Stone trying to talk to a DJ hoping to figure out how to get in contact with WikiLeaks? It actually undercuts the entire case. Stone was like, I heard this dude knows WikiLeaks, because this DJ was running his mouth like, I know the fucking WikiLeaks guys. And so Stone's like trying to talk to the dude. Hey, can you get me in touch with? Literally, Stone's like, hey, can you get me in touch with WikiLeaks? Well, wait a minute. Aren't you a Russian agent? You should be able to get fucking in touch with these assholes on your own. So yeah, this whole thing. And so there's a fundamental problem here. You can say Stone did some shit that wasn't good because it's just fucking Roger Stone. But the thing is, you can also make the argument, fruit of the poison tree. The entire prosecution is not valid. The entire thing isn't right. And so how can Roger Stone, realistically be jammed up on shit that ultimately comes from something that didn't happen? I mean, it's process crimes. That's what Roger Stone's that's what Roger Stone is literally looking at on his point system with the federal sentencing guidelines. It's all process crimes.
Well, maybe they wanted to get him in the same jail cell so the guards could walk away during lunch.
I'll tell you what, if Roger Stone ever wrote a book, like a serious book, like the last book, holy shit.
Yeah, it would be interesting.
That would be the book.
Did you also see where the DOJ now has guidelines to accept things from Giuliani? Did you see that? I heard about that, but I don't even know that kind of reporting. I don't know what that means. I mean, like, the reality is, if I had Donald Trump's ear, like Rudy Giuliani does, then, you're accepting my fucking guidelines. I mean, it's like, this is all kind of like heavy breathing, hyperventilating by the media to make some of this a bigger deal than, oh my God, Giuliani. Like, well, yeah, Giuliani's Trump's personal goddamn lawyer. I mean, Giuliani can literally walk into the freaking Presidential Emergency Operations Center and be like, bitch, we got to talk. Everybody get the fuck out. I mean, Giuliani, they just hate that. They hate it. So, don't get led around too much by the nose with some of this reporting, because it's like, whatever. It's all just remember
bullshit.
Clinton had Carville, same thing.
Carville wasn't Clinton's personal lawyer, was he?
He was his open-ended mouthpiece.
He was his campaign manager, I think. Oh, speaking of which, did you see Carville coming out complaining about Bernie Sanders?
Yeah, I saw that.
No, I missed that.
Oh my God. Oh. James Carville, how old is he? James Carville's like 72 now, Freeze. How old is that guy?
Oh, man, I tell you what. God, I don't know how old he is. He's got to be in his. I mean, obviously he's in his 70s. I don't know if he's in his early 70s or mid to late 70s. He's old.
Yeah, he's this James. I like James Carville. Everybody likes James Carville because he's the guy that came out after Clinton got wiped out because of the whole gun stuff, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that gun stuff. The NRA, they got us." And he used to call him Copperhead. He's married to Mary Matlin. Is that her name? No, that's the
no.
What's his wife's name? She worked for
Fox
No. She worked for Bush. She was a Republican strategist.
Yeah, but I think she did a stint with Fox too.
Oh, probably. Everybody gets a little side contract. Like, what was Mary? I'm getting her confused with the blonde or the deaf woman. I can't, I can't remember. But anyway, James Carville, they rolled him out, and he's hyperventilating about Bernie, and he's hyperventilating about all this stuff, and he's like, he's telling the truth. He's like, the Democratic Party's about to break in half, and it's going to be a D and a C, and if they split apart into a D or a C, or Democratic or Socialist, they'll be in the minority for the next 30, 40 years. I mean, they're in trouble. And it was just awesome to see him come out. I just miss James Carville, Copperhead. So
The Raging Cajun.
The Raging Cajun. So, all right, let's talk about some gun stuff, because I know that some of this is kind of like, over people's heads with some of this politics, and, we all have to kind of deal with it.
I have one quick question, though, before we get off that. In Ohio, is the state House and the state Senate Republican controlled?
I think all three aren't they, Freeze?
Well, they are.
I don't know. I don't know if they are or they're not. I would assume they are, but I honestly don't know. It can change. We have a long tradition of Democrats here in Ohio, and demographically, Ohio is changing. And that's why the Democrats are in trouble as far as carrying Ohio, because what's happening is Ohio, like a lot of other places, young people apparently move away. This isn't my opinion. This is just what I read. So you have the average population of Ohioans aging up. And so people that age up tend to be more conservative. You see rockers from the 60s that were almost stone cold communists in 1965 that are basically Republicans today. And that's what's happening in Ohio. So the Democrats are realizing that the trend lines for being able to carry Ohio are not in their favor.
Well, I can tell you where all the old people from Ohio go.
Florida.
Go down to Fort Myers in the winter. You'll see them all.
Yeah, that's true.
That is true.
But, but we've got these bullshit Republicans here that are like Mike DeWine, John Kasich. Look, I'm not going to shit on Rob Portman. I'm sure Rob Portman's a fine guy, and I'm not saying he's a John Kasich, but if you think Rob Portman would risk it all to die on the hill of protecting the Second Amendment, you are ill-informed. He doesn't give a shit about guns.
Well, he doesn't give a shit about anything anymore.
But you know what I fail to see is, don't these politicians ever think that them being so anti-Second Amendment that there could be repercussions towards them? Don't they see that? Or do they think they have the numbers to support their crazy ideas?
They're seeing it. You're seeing it on a grassroots level, because what's happening is you've got more and more people who are like you and me, who have a computer and can look at stuff and figure stuff out and basically be so informed that you're able to walk across the dining room table, the dining room of the restaurant, and get in Mike DeWine's face and be like, "You're a fucking piece of shit." But I know I don't have to watch. Who's, I'm trying to think of an old newscaster. Like, I don't have to have, like some NBC news person tell me what's going on anymore. I can figure it out myself.
But I can't understand why they feel so emboldened.
They're not. They're weakened. Like, there's a couple gun groups here in Ohio that are pretty active. They've been active for a while, but there's one group, and it's run by a bunch of, I think they're brothers. And these guys, they're small. I think they're small. But dude, they are like, they do live feeds. They march around the Capitol building. They practically stalk people. In a good way. Excuse me. They literally, they show up, they follow every bill, and they live feed the shit through Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. And these dudes, because they're just regular guys, they're not beholden to anybody. They're not trying to get along with anybody. And they drive the GOP crazy, because half the GOP isn't really pro-gun. It's like, yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? The thing is that tide of activism is rising nationwide, and it's getting to the point where it's going to start hitting Congress, and it's going to start hitting the White House. Yeah, because people are pissed off about this bullshit with the guns. Like, didn't Virginia just pass? Virginia has now banned suppressors, but they've allowed a grandfather of suppressors now. I think that actually passed, right?
I know the suppressor ban passed. I didn't get into all the intricacies of it.
Yeah. They banned suppressors in Virginia.
Yeah, they did ban suppressors in Virginia, but I don't really know anything about the grandfather.
I believe they grandfathered whatever suppressors were already in. But here's the thing: it's like, I mean, this is, you know, if you don't live on the East Coast and you don't live in Virginia or never spent time there, it's like Virginia. I mean, there are so many companies and groups in Virginia that work in like pseudo security military trainings. Like it's got to. I mean, I couldn't have, like, if the John 1911 range was in Virginia, I would be like fucking sick. It would be terrible. I mean, like, all these businesses have got to be jammed up. I got a notice from somebody because I'm on like a business to business list. There's already one private training facility. They weren't big. I looked at it wasn't even like impressive, but it's for sale in Virginia, and it's like, because they're fucked. They're just fucked. I mean, it's like all of a sudden you have like you're working a firearms training business. All of a sudden you're in fucking California now.
And they want those the 12-round mags. I don't know if that passed or not.
I you know what? I didn't even know that. I mean, I guess 1911s are about to get real popular in Virginia again.
That's what I was thinking. You know, I mean, yeah. But what about how about the thousands and thousands of people that have 9s with 15s?
Yeah, you know, well, they have to download them or blank them or block them. We all went through that with the assault weapons ban. But you know what? That's a good point, though. You know, people kind of don't realize this. The assault weapons ban did so much to help the 1911 business in this country, because if you were limited by 15-round mags, or you were limited to 10-round mags, you know, it's like, well, I might as well just go ahead and carry a 45. I mean, you know, people, that's what they were like. Well, I got to carry less bullets, I might as well carry bigger bullets. And a lot of people, because like, why would I carry a big ass double stack 9mm handgun if, you know, I can't even fill it? It's like, if you get none of the capacity and the less concealability, that basically made the 1911 business for a decade.
Well, I'll tell you, if the 12-round mag ban passed in Virginia, I'm putting every dime I have in High Point stock. They're going to sell a shitload of 45s.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's true. They will. Yeah. I mean, but like, it was a big deal. I mean, like, it really, like, people that made the 1911. I mean, people were like, well, I might as well carry a fucking 1911. They're easier to carry. You know?
Well, I think what's going to be real interesting in Virginia is this November's election. I mean, look, laws have been passed that just don't get unpassed. But the truth is, are there enough people in Virginia to cause all these people to lose their job?
Well, that would depend on how many seats are up. I don't think the governor is up this time. He might be. I'm not sure.
No, he just got elected. Tim Kaine.
Yeah,
he's only been governor for like what, 2 years, maybe.
2 years, maybe. I think he just came in this last
Not
time.
Tim Kaine. Not
Tim Kaine's a senator.
Tim Kaine. Tim Kaine was the governor. He became the senator. It's Coon Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing.
But what I'm saying is the people that are
Northam, that's his name.
That are the people that are up for re-election, the ones that voted for all of these, gun bans are, will they be re-elected? Is the question.
I think they will. I think they will. I think there's a few counties there's so many people in Northern Virginia that basically are there because of the federal government. Now, whether you work in government or you work for a company that works in government, a prime or a subprime contractor, or a company that services in that industry or all these industries, it's like the example, like all these gun training, firearms contracting businesses are in Virginia for a reason, because DC is where the money's at, and they're all these, you could get out of the military, buy a piece of land, and you're a trainer. And, there's so many of these, what I would call big city liberals. I mean, there's a reason they call Northern Virginia occupied Virginia. It's kind of like Washington. It's kind of like New York City versus the rest of New York State, or in upstate Ohio, Cleveland versus the rest of the state. I think in some of those counties, you could have maybe, like the Tidewater areas or some of these other areas, you could maybe have some seats flip. But I think there's enough people. I don't think Virginia's going to. I don't know if like Trump's probably not going to carry Virginia.
I think the last time I read Virginia in their state Senate, the Democrats had a 1-vote majority. In the House, it was 3 or 4. That's not a lot of flipping, really.
That's true, but the thing is, I mean, do you think the Republicans are going to wipe out? Like, I don't know how many senators there are in the Commonwealth, but you know what I mean. Like, I just don't see Virginia. Like, I don't see Virginia. If you knock it back, I think the trend lines are like Ohio. I think the trend line for Virginia is not good for Republicans, the same way the trend line in Ohio is not good for Democrats. I don't see it. I mean, if someone listens to this podcast and, you live in Virginia, I mean, I grew up in Virginia, but I've been there forever. Tell me, make me feel better. I mean, my family's buried there. I mean, it's like, I feel terrible about it, but I think it's fucked.
Well, this reverts back to my question, how these politicians feel emboldened. Are they going so anti-gun just to be anti-gun? Are they running with a clique? Or is there actually a real concern with their votes? I can't put my finger on it.
You know what? I don't know. I can't speak for Democrats, but I mean, it's probably not that dissimilar than Republicans. Like, if we were Democrats and we were anti-gun and we were looking across the aisle at Republicans, okay, and like, you see the guys like the John1911 guys, you're like, oh yeah, those motherfuckers, you're never going to fucking flip them. But you look at the John Kasichs and you look at the Mike DeWines and you're like, yeah, those guys aren't really pro-gun. We could probably work out a deal with them. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have a good read. I don't have a good read for the Democratic Party as to what's what. I mean, I know the hardcore commies hate the guns and the statists hate the guns, because if you take the guns away, then you don't have any trouble forcing people to do other shit.
That's
true.
And
that's, I think, look, do I think there are people in the Democratic Party that in their heart, they think that, taking people's guns away is because they're trying to do it for the children? I think they believe that. I do, but I think they don't understand. They fixated on something because it's easier to fixate on that than to look at the hard stuff, what's really going on. And some of them don't even realize they're being used by communists or statists, to the real goals here, because socialism is always the same. You can vote your way into it, but you got to shoot your way back out of it.
Yes, you do.
Like, here's the thing. Let's just say we all decided, you know what, fuck it. Let Bernie goddamn win in 2020. And, you know what? We're just going to fucking try it. And he literally nationalizes and does all this shit. And we're all like, okay. In 4 or 8 years, if we decide, yeah, this is fucking crazy. Do you think Antifa? Do you think the statists in government? Do you think the Bernie bros? Do you think the Democratic Party would dare to let us vote our way out of that? Change your mind now? No fucking way.
The thing is, it would be so hard to dig out of that hole. I mean, it'd be almost impossible.
Mm-hmm. There's no way they would do it. So, all right, we got to talk about some gun stuff. Freeze. I'm still dreaming about the Beretta 92X performance.
Well, I'll tell you what. I've never been a huge fan of the Beretta 92. I don't dislike it. I'm just not a super fan of the platform. But I'll tell you what, that 92X performance is an impressive gun. And it's a whole lot of gun for a pretty moderate price point as well.
I checked with our local FFL, and because I was like, hey, by the way, we might be in the market for one of these guns. And I was like, can you get him? He's like, well, let me check. And so he's got his price. And again, his price to me was like $1,100 and some dollars. But
which is cheaper than what I'm seeing it at.
Fuck yeah. And it was,
but that's a friends and family discount too.
I don't think that was a full friends and family discount, but the thing is, he couldn't get them. He's like, none of my distributors have them in stock right now.
No.
But so the MSRP on that is realistically going to be about $1,200. Like that's what it's on the street as. And so, Danny, what this is, it's a Beretta 92. It's all steel, but it's got a frame mounted thumb safety on both sides, like a 1911.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
You remember I told you I wanted the Beretta 96. I wanted a 40.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm glad I never purchased one. You're going to save me hundreds. I'll just go out and buy a used XD.
And you know what? There's a shit ton of them out there too.
Oh my God. I get emails every day on 40 guns. Please, basically like you can see the guys writing the emails are like, please fucking buy one of these bullshit 40 police traded guns. We'll give you a free steak dinner to Outback or something.
Just to take the damn thing.
But I remember like when the Beretta 96 came out, which is the 40, and I don't like the DASA and the slide mounted safety the way it works, but the Berettas are well built guns. I just hate the manual of arms on them.
They're heavy.
Oh, you want to see heavy? You want to see heavy? You take a look at one of these Beretta 92X Performance, because you've never seen a Beretta 96 with a steel frame.
No, that's true.
That's aluminum frame. Yeah, those are going to be heavy guns.
They're going to be heavy, yeah, absolutely. But I'm telling you what, the gun offers a lot.
It does.
Man, it's for a $1,200 gun, you're getting you're basically getting a race gun, less the optics.
Yeah. And Freeze, you were telling me you were seeing people were mounting optics to the Berettas by just bolting onto the pick rail on the front of the gun. They weren't even like drilling the gun.
No, the thing is, they have this mount that attaches to the pick rail, and then it comes up on both sides of the gun, and then the optic mounts on top of it. So it's a frame mounted optic. And I tell you what, easy peasy.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's like you can at least play with it. You couldn't really carry it. Here's the thing. Like, I got a chance. I stopped at a couple gun stores earlier this week. And what's that gun? The PPQ or something?
A Walther?
The Walther?
Yeah, it wasn't a PPQ. It's the Walther Match, Q5 Match. They had one of those at the one of these gun stores, not the one that I normally do the secondhand showcase from. And it's a remember what I was telling everybody about? Oh yeah, they're all coming out with steel framed guns, these 9mm. Yeah. The Q5 Match is a Walther, which is kind of a copy of a VP9, but it's an all steel gun. The frame is steel, but it's got a long slide, kind of like the long slide VP9 or a Glock 34, 35. And I picked this gun up and I was like, fuck, this is heavy. I was like, it was too heavy.
Yeah, and that was empty too.
That was empty too. And I was like, and I think I also, not that it felt top heavy, but I would wondered if you had it like a regular length slide, how, what that would have been like. So, it makes me wonder if I did ever find a 92X Performance, if it's going to be too heavy. But the Beretta 92, the slide on it's wide open. You don't have all that metal on the top of that gun. I'll tell you what, if anybody's listening to this and you're curious about the Beretta 92X Performance, and the Beretta 92X, I think you can shoot at DA. but you can cock and lock it, shoot it SA, and apparently they even have a conversion kit to make it SA only. You just have to get the parts from Beretta. But they've actually probably the best shooter on the competition circuit right now is a guy named JJ Racaza. And I think JJ's even been on some of these like Top Shot TV shows. And they signed him to be on their shooting team. And this dude, JJ Racaza, one of them, he's faster than shit through a goose. He is like
JJ Racaza is very good.
Oh my God. I mean, but what I also like about JJ Racaza is every time you see him, that dude is having so much fun. He is just, he's not like, like sometimes some guns I'm shooting, I'm like working, I'm like, I wish I could have as much fun shooting when it counted as JJ Racaza seems to have shooting when it counts.
Every time you see a video of him, he's smiling, he's laughing, and he's having a good time. Now, I don't know, maybe in real life, I don't know the guy. Maybe in real life he's an asshole, but I mean, he just always seems like he's just smiling, laughing, just having a damn good time in life,
Yeah.
But
he's a hell. But you want to see that gun? That's the gun he's shooting. And to be honest with you, the 92X is the gun that basically got him to join the Beretta shooting team, in my opinion, because the dude wants to win. He's not going to like High Point can throw as much money as they want at him, but unless they've got a gun actually is competitive, he's not. I mean, it's not his. Unless they paid him like $1 billion, unless they just bribed him, but he wants to be competitive because it would hurt his reputation. Well, this 92X performance gun, he was like, holy shit. I mean, this thing is pretty neat. I'm curious what it'd be like to carry one.
Well, Marky, the reason you're not happy when you're shooting is you have so many damn gas problems. You're always trying to dial that in. Have you ever got that dialed in?
The suppressed upper,
right. Not
completely. I've been so busy the past, month or so. I've kind of haven't dicked with it. It doesn't run 100%. It's the Gemtech Integra. My current theory is, because I had to get on their website and look at their specs on that gun. I think that gun was designed to run with 62 grain ammo. And I'm only shooting 55 in it, and I wonder if the bullet weights have caused any issues because it's not pressurizing the gun enough.
Have you tried the 62s yet?
I don't think so. The thing is, I don't normally buy 62 grain ammo because I buy it in bulk. So then it's like, well, I got to buy like a couple cases of it. And I'll bet you, it's a theory, can't prove it, but I bet you if I run 62 grain that gun, I bet you it fucking runs like a fucking scalded dog. And because I forgot when they made that gun, it was for a military contract and military specs. And I guarantee you they spec that to run 62 grain ammo. And I was like, that's the fucking problem. Because they have the gas tuned, because it's a fixed gas system, because they have it so it doesn't blow gas in your face and poison you. And it doesn't. But I bet you I'm just running the wrong ammo in it. And if I want to change that, I have to have them open up the gas port on it, which is a whole big of it. But I've got so many irons in the fire right now with gun projects, I just haven't been able to dig with it. So oh my God.
Like I told you, you have more irons in the fire than a blacksmith.
Yeah, it's, there's some stuff like we've even talked about that's, here's one. Have you noticed the ZB-26 has disappeared? And
I don't even want to talk about that.
Nope. So, here's one. So, we have my 1911. I'm probably going to start shooting 1911s more. And I noticed this last night, Therese. So I've been doing a fair amount of dry fire with this 9mm 1911, and I put a mag wall on a mainspring housing, and just this week last night I saw it. I've worn some bluing off the mag well just from dry fire.
Have you really?
Mm-hmm.
No shit.
Well, I dry fire. Well, here's the thing. See, I'm not going to tell people on this podcast how much time I've spent dry firing this gun over the past 6 days, because you wouldn't believe me. I'm not even going to say it, but I dry fire quite a bit. And here's the thing. I dry fire other guns like the VP9. I dry fire it somewhat. I do. Because a lot of what I get out of the gun is from dry fire. picking up the 1911 again and getting used to that thumb safety and, working that gun, the 1911 is the funnest gun for me to dry fire. I can do it forever. I mean, I can just run and run and run and run that gun fucking dry. And obviously I've worn some bluing off this mag well, and it's not from it scraping with the magazine, it's my hand. It's on the outside where my hand hits the mag well, the back of it. So, you know what? I actually did. I looked last night, and it turns out that Ed Brown now makes a one-piece magwell, mainspring housing magwell in stainless. They didn't used to make a one-piece magwell, and I may just go ahead and order a stainless for this, because if I start carrying this gun, like I can already see the back of this mainspring house. Like this thing's gonna rust. Like as soon as I carry this gun, it's gonna rust.
Well, I mean, but on 1911's mainspring, blued mainspring housings, you find a lot of rust in those little nooks and crannies.
Yeah, I mean, there's just no getting around it. And the thing is, this is an all stainless gun. I just happen to have this mainspring housing system. When I opened up, because I hadn't looked at this gun in a decade, and I hate to spend like $100 just to change out a mainspring housing on a gun that may not be a primary gun, but I can't go into a lot of detail here. We're not going to discuss it publicly. You guys are aware of it, but I have a reason why I would be shooting a 9mm 1911 for the next few months in preparation for another project. Mm-hmm. So we'll leave it at that. Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at with gun projects right now. Well,
So what are you guys doing for Valentine's Day today?
Talking to you guys.
Aren't you lucky? I got a black eye today. I got punched for Valentine's Day. So
because your wife is a saint and you are you're lucky they even let your ass in the church.
I have to drive by at 60 and tell her to jump when we go by.
Wow.
Yeah, Danny's wife had to go in today for a little bit of stuff, and it's Valentine's Day and it's Friday. And,
well, at least I'm not spending $2,500.
Yeah. So anything else? I mean, anything else we need to cover? I don't want to talk about politics anymore. I mean,
look, I mean, there's,
wait a minute,
there's so much.
I forgot about this. Did you guys see the story I sent about the woman in the UK that demands her husband or her boyfriend? Her boyfriend spent $2,500, £2,500.
That's what I was alluding to.
Oh,
okay. Let me tell you something. I read that article and I was looking at her and not thinking, hey, on a good day, 3 or 4 bourbons in, I'd throw one up. The truth is, to celebrate Valentine's Day for a week, spend $2,500 on her and put up with her stupid, goofy, childish bullshit, go fuck yourself. I'd send her ass packing. She'd be lucky to get a fucking White Castle and a Diet Coke.
I'm confused. Are you saying she's not attractive or she is attractive?
No, I'm saying she's okay, but she's not good looking enough to be throwing those kind of demands down.
She's a good looking girl for her what she is. She does a lot but with what she does.
She's not good looking enough to demand a $2,500 full week of Valentine's. And if your Valentine's love letter's not good enough in her mind's eye, you have to rewrite it. Fuck you.
I think I lost.
That's what I'm saying.
Apparently, she has all these ground rules. She wants. Oh, apparently they call it. What did they call it? They call it flower bombing.
Yeah,
I didn't know what that was. I literally was like, does that mean someone throws? She wants you to flower bomb her at work. I was like,
when she gets to work, there has to be flowers covering her desk and every part of her office.
No. Flower bombing is apparently let's say it's Valentine's Day and she's there and it's 9:00. And see, if you've ever had, because I've had it like our offices where someone shows up with flowers for one of the girls, and all the women in the office are like, ooh, and they're like, oh my God, it's so awesome. They get all cute. And then like an hour later, another set of flowers shows up. And then an hour after that, another set of flowers. And it's like you're getting flowers all goddamn day. And what this isn't for your girl. This is so your girl can show off.
Right.
And this is obviously just, this girl is like, she's super young and she's super dumb. And she's got a guy that will do all this goofy shit. And I'm just glad they live in the UK and not next to me.
Yeah, no doubt.
And if she worked in my office, I'd be like, yeah, we're done with the deliveries today. Yeah. We're done. So, yeah, that's what's going on. But, hey, it could be worse. You could be Pamela Anderson and get married and then decide 12 days later, oh, no, fuck that. We're going to get divorced. Happy Valentine's Day.
But that was only after he paid off her $200,000 debt.
Did he?
Did you see that part of it?
I didn't.
They paid off like $200,000
must have been one hell of a prenup.
Debt, and then she divorced.
Okay, hold on. You both. Okay, so Pamela Anderson, she got, and see, Pamela Anderson's like, for like all of us, was like one of the big women of the time. So
Baywatch.
Like, let me find it. Let me find it here. And she married this dude, like this guy is, he's like a Hollywood producer guy that she used to know or something, right? So wait a minute. He gave her money?
Yeah.
Why Pamela Anderson's marriage lasted 12 days. Here it is. Because you're fucking crazy. That's why. I mean, no, you hate to say that, but this girl, she was pretty young and she was discovered, I think, at like a sports stadium, right?
Yeah. Yeah. She was at a sporting event in Canada. And you know how the camera pans over the audience? That's how she was discovered.
Oh, you know what? Here it is. Hollywood producer John Peters claimed Monday that his 12-day marriage to Pamela Anderson went bust after he paid some of her broke actress's debts. Here we go. John Peters is a hairstylist to the stars.
Huh.
He's 74.
Okay.
How old's Pamela Anderson?
Well, Pamela Anderson's probably in her late 50s, early 60s, I would think.
She's my age. She's got to be my age, right?
I don't know.
There's no way Pamela Anderson's. Okay, now I got it. Now this has gone nuts.
I think
now you got to look.
I think Freeze is
now
right
I gotta look
because in the early '80s is when Baywatch was on. So if she was 20,
52.
No way.
She's 52. Pamela Anderson is. I'm telling you, dude. They discovered Pam Anderson when she was like 17 or something.
Holy!
She didn't break out when she was 25.
Really?
Yeah,
she's only 52.
52. I'm telling you, she's like damn near my age.
Okay.
Oh, here we go. Spouses.
Wow.
Tommy Lee, 95 to 98. Kid Rock, 2006, 2007. Jesus, this is like going down the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Rick Solomon, 2007, annulled 2008. Hold on, married Rick Solomon again in 2014 and divorced in 2015. And then in 2020, John Peters after 12 days.
2020.
Yeah. She's a damn porcupine.
God almighty.
Jesus.
I didn't know she was broke, and she was basically, apparently Pamela Anderson has a price. I mean, I hate to say it like that, but oh my God, I did not know that. And this guy is a hairstylist. I just assumed he was like a metal rock band guy.
Well, I mean, he obviously does well as a hairstylist.
What kind of hairstylist has, like Paul Mitchell? I mean, first of all, let's just be, a hairstylist that's not fucking gay. I mean, I'm just like, okay. So there's the first one. So anyway.
That's crazy. but yeah, after he paid off a bunch of her debt, it was like, yeah, okay, it's time to go.
Well,
Okay.
well, Marky, it's not that far out of the realm of them having money, because a relative of my wife's down the line was a hairstylist in Vegas and did all the top shows people hair before the shows. Let's just say he's retired extremely comfortable.
Really?
Yes. I mean, more than extremely comfortable.
Really?
Him and his partner.
Oh, okay. Wait a minute. A flash cut to like the woman in Iowa who voted for Buttigieg, whatever how you say his name.
Buttigieg.
Like, he. What do you mean? He's married to a guy?
Oh yeah, I want my
back?
ballot back.
See, I think the best political blurb that I've heard this week is Elizabeth Warren bragging about how she took $6 from some poor broke college chick and bragged about it. Yeah, we need to do more of this.
Oh my God!
Look, your campaign is so financially destroyed. You're bragging about taking $6 off of some poor college chick who only had like $12 in the bank.
Here's the problem with Elizabeth Warren. Here's the problem. Like, let's just be real here. Okay, first of all, she says this shit, and you're just like, oh my God, girl, what are you doing? She so can't connect with people. But then the second thing is, she lies so much that you can't even verify if this actually happened, and she could have even been lying about it. And it's like, she thought this, she's like some dude telling this great story, and she decided to be like, well, it was her last $6. She just had to exaggerate it, and she thinks has no idea how this looks. The woman lies so much you can't even believe what comes out of her mouth.
She's like the drunk guy in the bar that tells stories about his days when he was with SEAL Team 6.
Or you mean like the guy who this will be our crime toss out. But did you see the story about the guy who was convicted? He's a SEAL Team 6 member, and what he was doing is he was catfishing chicks to get them to send nude pictures.
I did not hear about that.
I did.
I sent it to Danny. I don't know if I sent it to you, Free. So
I did. I have not heard about that.
So here's what happened. This is great. This guy is literally a team member of SEAL Team 6, and he's there. I guess they have personal SEAL Team 6. I don't know how it all works. They got whatever they got over there at Little Creek, and they have all these people that come in. He would impersonate different people. He was spoofing phones. And so there was a woman who was I guess a personal trainer or fitness person somehow involved with them as an organization. And so he got that woman's phone number, and he spoofed her phone and would send text messages to other women that he knew and basically say, hey, send me a nude picture of yourself. It'll be totally fine, so I can do a fat analysis, or I can tell you what you need to work on because I'm a professional and we're just chicks. Like, he was crazy. It was crazy what this guy was doing. And he wasn't doing it to somebody in Nigeria. He was doing it to I think maybe even other team members' wives. Crazy shit. People that were in his universe.
No, but what's crazy is the women that sent the pictures.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I didn't go that deep into it. I don't know how successful he was, but he must have been moderately successful because they got him on the charges. It wasn't attempted. It wasn't attempted, catfishing or whatever he did. It was. They actually got him on it.
Speaking about catfishing, did you see where that Cincinnati police captain and the guy were pulled over and he gets out with a skirt on? Did you see that?
That was recent?
Yes.
No.
What?
In some suburb.
Was it the drunk driving thing?
Yes.
That was
a woman.
Yeah, it was a woman that was driving drunk, and her husband was in the car. But they were, I think, they were like Loveland.
Yeah, they were in Loveland.
They weren't Cincinnati.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
for the hold on for the listener that doesn't understand, when I do the secondhand showcase videos, which I'm going to be doing more today, I'm coming at you from Shooter Supply in Loveland, Ohio.
Oh, okay. Well,
See, a lot of people don't realize that Cincinnati is not like a lot of bigger cities. We're all broke up into our own little. There's Cincinnati, the city of Cincinnati proper.
Well, hold on, Freeze. No. She's a Cincinnati cop.
yeah, she was a captain.
I thought
she was busted in Loveland. She's a captain in Cincinnati CPD. She's CPD, 100%. I'm looking at her. I'm looking at her uniform, and I'm wondering. I heard about the story, and I was like, God, I hope I don't know her. I hope I don't know her, because I used to know a lot of these lines, especially when they were younger. So she's about Captain Amanda Catton, 55. So wait a minute, Freeze, or Danny, are you saying that her husband, the husband, was wearing a dress?
A dress or a kilt or something, they were saying.
Come on.
I mean, that's
always always nice in the middle of winter.
There's a big difference between a dress and a kilt.
Yeah, no
underwear.
underwear.
Here's the thing. If you're wearing a kilt, you get to go into the biker club still. You still get you're still a member of the crew. If you're wearing a dress, you don't get to walk through the door anymore.
true.
Like being into a church.
Well, we're probably going to have to wrap this one up. Hold on, let me see here. Reeked of alcohol, blah, blah, blah. Officers offer to give a ride. So,
did you see Did you see about the Baltimore mayor?
Yes, I did. The biggest, the most common. So we're obviously in the crime section of the podcast, and we'll wrap this one up. So the former mayor of Baltimore, who got in trouble for causing all kinds of problems during all the riots, she was running a bribery scam, and this is a real common scam that you see and happens all the time. So you'll if you want to give somebody money but you can't really bribe them, what you do is you basically work out a book deal, and you can get an advance on a book deal. And what happened was this woman, she wrote a book for a kid's book, and then she basically shopped it around to the schools, and it was basically like, you're going to fucking buy this book and put it in your fucking schools or else, motherfucker. And they did, and she got a big ton of money, and she got caught because of all the publicity of people looking at dirty-ass Baltimore. But normally she would have gotten away with it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Well, this wraps up episode 162 of the John1911 Podcast. If you want to see any picture stories or links of anything we've discussed, you can go to our website, john1911.com. And if you want to drive around drunk with a dress on, don't do it in Loveland, Ohio. Remember, it's all about shooting guns and having fun. Everybody, have a good day.
See you later.
Bye-bye.